The drug overdose epidemic, also referred to as the opioid epidemic, continues to worsen in the United States. In 2021, it was reported that there was roughly 80,000 overdose deaths, and nearly 75% of drug overdose deaths in 2021 involved an opioid. Currently, the most popular opioid that is directly influencing the current opioid crisis is fentanyl. Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid that is up to 50 times stronger than heroin and 100 times stronger than morphine. There is a significant risk that illegal drugs have been intentionally contaminated with fentanyl. Because of its potency and low cost, drug dealers have been mixing fentanyl with other drugs, including heroin, methamphetamine, and cocaine, which increases the likelihood of a fatal interaction. 2 milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal depending on a person's body size, tolerance, and past usage. According to the CDC, synthetic opioids, like fentanyl, are the primary driver of overdose deaths in the United States. Although there are not many solutions to put an end to the opioid crisis, there are temporary solutions that can potentially save your life in the event of an opioid overdose.
Narcan, also known as naloxone, its generic name, was first patented in March of 1961 by Dr. Jack Fishman and Dr. Moses Lewenstein. It belongs to the opioid antagonist class, which can reverse the overdose of heroin, fentanyl, and other opioid medications. Its molecular formula is C19H21NO4, and naloxone has the molar mass of 327.27 grams per mole. Naloxone is synthesized by the alkylation of 14-hydroxydihydronorphanane by an allobromide. Also, N-allylic substitution in a number of morphine derivatives can result in antagonistic properties as seen in naloxone.
So what happens during an opioid overdose? Due to the effect on the part of the brain which regulates breathing, opioid in high doses can cause people to experience signs of breathing problems and severe sleepiness or not being able to respond, eventually leading to death. When Narcan or Noxolon is administered to a patient experiencing an opioid emergency, Noxolon molecules travel through the brain to the body. The Noxolon molecules attach to the same receptor sites with a greater affinity than most opioid molecules. By displacing the opioid molecules, Noxolon can reverse the potentially life-threatening effects of the overdose, specifically respiratory depression. Signs and symptoms of an opioid overdose may include unusual sleepiness, slow heartbeat or low blood pressure, pupils are tiny, breathing problems such as slow or shallow breathing, skin feels clampy and cold, or blue nails and lips. The signs and symptoms of an opioid overdose can return after Narcan nasal spray is given. If this happens, give another dose after 2 to 3 minutes of using a new Narcan nasal spray device, and watch the person closely until emergency help is received. The medicine in Narcan nasal spray has no effect in people who are not taking opioid medicine, so it is advised to always carry Narcan nasal spray with you in case of an opioid overdose. Sudden opioid withdrawal symptoms can be severe. In someone who has been taking opioids regularly, opioid withdrawal symptoms can happen suddenly after receiving Narcan nasal spray and may include body ache, diarrhea, increased heart rate, fever, runny nose, sneeze, goosebumps, sweating, yawning, nausea or vomiting, nervousness, restlessness or irritability, shivering or trembling, stomach cramping, weakness, or increased blood pressure.
So hot. I'm so thirsty today. What is this? Not drugs. Perfect. Just take some of this. Oh, I don't feel good.
Oh no, what happened? Not drugs. Definitely drugs. Let's check the signs for an opioid overdose. Number 1, blue nails, positive. Shallow breathing, yes. Cold to the touch, very cold. Luckily, I have Narcan. Here's how to use it. Step 1, peel, place, press. Now, call 911 as she's regaining consciousness and get her straight to the hospital.
Cost and where to buy Narcan. States really encourage you to have Narcan. You can buy Narcan and naloxone, which is the generic version, over the counter at a local pharmacy. It can be bought without a prescription, and it is accessible in all 50 states and is free in multiple states. The price varies per state, but the price range for Narcan is $70 to $100, and the price range for naloxone is $22 to $60. So naloxone is obviously cheaper. A growing number of cities like Philadelphia and Chicago are having it free at public libraries since they are free to frequent by everyone. And some states have free programs, states like Ohio, Delaware, and Iowa. Some states like California have really long waiting times to get your hands on the drug, even though it is free. And states like North Dakota require prescription for it, so which can pose bigger barriers to having this drug. And so states like North Dakota should really consider having more free access to it. It did rise to prominence more in the recent years than previous ones. Stories like the one published in New York Times made the reversal drugs rise to prominence. In the video, a training police officer is handling a white powder and begins to feel lightheaded. Narcan is administered immediately and potentially saves the man's life. While the story received quite a bit of backlash, as experts pointed out that just handling it shouldn't cause someone to overdose, this video still made people realize that such a drug exists. This led to the second story in which a festival company is offering free Narcan at events, as well as fentanyl testing strips and a free course in recognizing drug overdose. Finally, the End Drug Overdose Project provides free Narcan to people while promoting education and public awareness over the issue. And this has led to even more universities having Narcan handy at school events and student organization providing fentanyl test strips to students. Thank you for watching our video.